I'm Richard Porter.
I'm Johnny Smith.
And this is Smith and Sniff, a podcast in which two friends talk about cars and many other things at Le Mans.
Le Mans. Of the hours.
Mans. When the crowd say Beau, Selector.
When the crowd say 24 hours. And we are next to the start-finish line.
We are.
In a hospitality building, it must be said. And we're drinking alcohol. The event's finished, as in the race is finished.
Oh, gosh. So the context here is we're sitting in the Porsche Hospitality. Guests of Porsche this weekend. It's the race just finished, so sorry about the background noise, but there's still stuff going on in here. And also we've chosen to sit by the bar brilliantly.
We made the executive decision to keep a little bit of ambient goings-on in the background for authenticity.
Yeah.
So we don't really know what's going to happen, but we have got... I'm drinking it's actually called a motorsport cocktail, which I think is sort of inappropriate, because you just think, who would drink a cocktail involving motorsport? But I've actually got the menu. I've got the menu in my hand, and it's called the Porsche Motorsport Cocktail, and it contains Pasanga, lime juice, and ginger beer. I don't actually know what Pasanga is.
No.
But it's nice.
Pasanga?
Yes, it's really nice.
I don't know. I've taken a picture of that, which we'll put on the Patreon to show how lovely and pink it is. But we don't know what Pasanga is.
I think it's grapefruit juice.
Gosh, what are they doing?
Which I don't normally like. I think it's pink grapefruit juice, but...
As you'll probably know by now, the result of the Le Mans 24-hour Ferrari won. Porsche sadly didn't get a podium. They did get a car in fourth. Now, we were curious about what happened if they didn't win, and if you watch the race, you'll also know that it was all quite tight, and you couldn't call it for a long time.
No, I mean, the last 2 hours...
Rain, safety cars, all this stuff.
Yeah.
But I thought, if Porsche don't win... It's entirely possible that all of the hospitalities will just shut down and everyone will get thrown out, because they'll just go, no, that's it.
No.
We're not having fun.
The event's dead
either.
to us.
Yeah. And as it turns out, it is still going on, but they are quite conspicuously packing up here. So sorry about the background noise. But what a weekend it's been.
I mean, look, I'm going to say straight off the bat, I'm not a Le Mans aficionado. I'm not highly knowledgeable on the subject. But what I can tell you is that in the first hour of racing, I've written this down, so I'm just going to quickly check my notes. In the first hour and 15 minutes, there'd been 2,000 overtakes.
That boggles my mind. It also boggles my mind because I picture somebody in a back room with a pad doing the cross across, the kind of prison count down the days kind of. What's the name for that way of counting stuff?
Yeah, there is. It's 4 and then a slash across.
Yeah, but is it called? Anyway,
there is a term for it,
because they'd be their pen tip would be red hot trying to count 2,000 overtaking minutes.
You'd have a nightclub Dorman clicker.
Oh yeah.
You have a
but even that,
clicker. Your thumb would be on.
Clicker. Yeah.
But we're where we're sat in this wonderful enclosure, we've actually got a 963 Porsche race car in the same room as us, and an engine in a glass case, which I'll take some pictures of.
You had a proper perv over that engine yesterday.
I just wanted to know what the mill was.
The mill.
You want to sound like someone from Beach Boy.
Is it a Pinto block?
Yeah, that's right. It was running a 944 straight 4,
3 litre
bored up. Yeah. But no, in all seriousness, next to us is, I think, a sort of the Parc Ferme area, and we've just seen the cars come in. So right within 30-40 feet of us, we've got a Folds Mustang GT3, which is a really, not just a handsome race car, but one of the best sounding cars on the grid.
Yes, interesting point.
I think so, anyway.
Compared to, in the GT3 realm, one of the worst selling cars is a Lexus RC Coupe.
Yes.
Just one.
Yeah.
Because to run in hypercars, I think you have to have a car in GT3. So, if you're Ferrari, that's fine, because there's lots of customer the 296 is on there, and Porsche obviously 911's got the yin yang, and the 911 did win GT3. But Toyota, hang on a sec, how are Peugeot in there then?
Peugeot just barged everyone out of the way and went, this is a French event, we'll do what the hell we want to do.
Is that it?
And they've got one hypercar competing, and Peugeot's hypercar is one of them, I think, one of the most attractive, actually.
Yeah, it is,
It's
isn't
a
it?
really good-looking vehicle.
It's a good-looking pack, though.
Yeah.
I think the Ferrari's very pretty.
It's just there. There's a Ferrari 40 feet from where we're
Honestly,
gathering.
we'll put some pictures up on the Patreon again for this. Maybe even on the socials. But
You said something really good about the Ferrari as it was pulling in, because they
Did I?
they got to manoeuvre in really slowly, and you
doesn't
went.
sound like me.
Was it you that said to me, "Went listen to the sound of the Ferrari, sort of
yes.
idle. It
Yeah.
sounds like a Beetle.
It's got a ring-a-dinger.
It sounds like a Beetle with a whistly exhaust."
So it's the dinging. It's the ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Something's dinging on that car. The Porsche didn't sound like that, and then the Mustang sort of sounds more like a road car, but like a fruity road car. The cars after 24 hours of almost constant driving,
The men.
look absolutely fucking amazing, covered in grot and. It's
Exhaust fumes.
fabulous. Yeah. The Porsche,
Brake
because it's
dust.
got the outlets on the deck and the paint is light there, or the wrap, whatever it is, has just a big, like skid marks, exhausty skid marks up the back deck. Fabulous. They're really good.
Skid marks up the
So
back
yeah, we
deck.
behind us out the window we can see the Parc Ferme and the lower ranking cars. I think the winning Ferrari goes up to the podium and then gets. Someone said that's going straight to the museum, but it
Yeah.
can't be right because the season's not over.
Yeah, that's a good point. Whether or not they'll take the bodywork off and preserve it, and then they could always put it on a spare chassis, for display purposes.
Yes. Oh yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, maybe they do that. Yeah, just or could they lacquer in the dirt?
They could, yeah.
Yeah.
But because we're on the start-finish straight next to this big Michelin hockey stick with what is a friendly-looking Bibendum picture, not a creepy pre-war Bibendum.
I don't know. I mean, there's still something a bit off about it.
There was on the podium when they're firing cannons full of metallic single-use plastic about. Bibendum's on the stage doing sort of Mardi Gras dancing, for want of a better term. But your narration, it was making me giggle when we were watching the big screen. Going, I just don't trust him. I don't.
Is that so wrong? To not trust the promotional character? I'm not so keen on Ronald McDonald either. Now we're to come down to it. I mean, he's definitely.
But he's friends with a guy that looks like a blue slug. What's the name of that geezer?
Also, his nemesis has an actual beef burger for a head. So I mean, he needs to take a long look at his life. Maybe reevaluate some of his priorities.
His mates are all self-medicating idiots.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we got off the race. But because we're on the start-finish line, there's been a lot of changeable weather at this event.
Oh, my
Which
heavens.
means it's like endless tyre changes from slicks to wets to intermediates. I mean, those tyre fitters have definitely earned their money. But as a consequence, we've seen shitloads of cars coming in and out of the pits, where
Yeah.
you're obviously restricted on your speed. So the cars are kind of in a pit map.
Yeah.
Where they sort of guff along with their cut ignition.
They do guff, don't they?
And then as soon as you hit the
Yeah.
and we've heard some really good exhaust changes, and I've got to hand it to the Americans in a paddock with a lot of pedigree. The Mustangs and the Cadillac
Yes.
hypercars
Yes.
absolutely win for sound.
Do you know what the cars sound like as I go down the pit lane? They sound like me last night at 4 o'clock in the morning when I got back to where we're staying, starving hungry, and there's a little sort of tenty thing at the entrance to this camp place that we're staying that had some snacks laid out in it, but I was like, oh, snacks.
Baskets of snacks.
And they closed it up, but it's just a tent, so I tried the flaps and it was still open, so I went in.
You dived in.
The snack bowl was empty, and as it turns out, the fridge, the fridge that's got water in it, also empty because, as I subsequently discovered, you'd taken all the water when you got back.
Because I knew I'd had a few units and I didn't want to be dry.
But there's a little screen, and behind it they have supplies. So I basically went backstage, found some water,
Walter.
and then there was a box of bags of peanuts.
Did you find peanuts?
Yeah, I took 2 bags of peanuts back to to my room, opened one of them, absolutely troughed a load of peanuts, but they were very dry and I hadn't drunk any water at that point. So I was suddenly going, and then cleared my throat.
Honestly, the sound of that Cadillac going from kind of pit mandatory low speed to full chat with cold tyres, so it probably span up. A lot of them span up. The sound was phenomenal, but it was like you sort of semi-choking, but with a gurgling stomach because you were very hungry as well. It was really, really good. So there was a driver, and I was watching it into the small hours. There was a driver called Earl Bamber, and I didn't even look at the nationality. I went totally an American driver, and sure enough,
Earl Bamber.
Yes, Earl Bamber. It turns out, I mean, no surprise, is driving in Le Mans. Is a very good wheelman, and was battling for fourth position like it was the final 3 laps of the race.
Well, that's been a marker. It's been like that, I suppose, for endurance racing for a while. But it used to be sort of more kind of plodding marathon, not a sprint. But now it's a fucking sprint that lasts 24 hours. It's insane. It's got to like 20 hours in, and the gap between some of the cars, like the top 9 hypercars were all on the same lap. Which sort of, if you think about that and all the pit stops and everything else that goes on. It's mind-boggling, and they were just sort of jockeying. They were like sort of less than a second between some of them at various points.
Yeah.
But when we got here, we were both like, "Why a Cadillac here? What the merry hell is going on?"
Yeah.
It was baffling to us, and because you were like, "Where's the road car that relates to any of this?"
Yeah. Well, because if you think about it, like, I mean, I know we're British, so you can't buy a Cadillac new in the UK. But what product is relating to the fact that it seems Cadillac have got actual prowess in the racing realm? I mean, they're the reason why their hypercars sound so good is because it's naturally aspirated. No, a lot of the others are boosted, and it really does. It makes its throat heard. So you're like, well, what do you buy? An Escalade, maybe? I mean, I think they're dreadful. Apparently, the latest one drives surprisingly well. But I don't.
We've been hanging out with our old friend Alana Scher, who appeared on our Rensbolt podcast.
Alana,
sadly, she's not here now, but she's great. She reminded us that, of course, in the US they sell the Blackwing series of cars, which are quite spouty.
Yes,
but you'd still say the bedrock of Cadillac is probably Escalade, isn't it? And it's like, so doing endurance racing seems a little bit of a weird fit. And we were convinced initially, weren't we, that it was like, this is just a tax loss.
It's some sort of laundering.
GM is just doing some kind of fiddle to be able to pay a bit less tax on its profits, everything. And by the end of the weekend, I think we were sort of rooting for them, weren't we? Because at various points, that Cadillac, the yellow car crashed out, but the blue one kept on going.
Yeah.
And there's something, they sort of suddenly started to take on the whiff of a slightly plucky underdog, just because you're battling Porsche, who know a thing or two about
They got a form here, big form,
and a Ferrari,
also form, and Folds that have form, and Corvette that have form, and of course there were quite a lot of vets here, and I like a lot of Corvette. I'm still not totally convinced by the mid-engine thing.
No, it looks terrible.
I believe it's a really good car, and obviously an amazing value for money car, which it always has been.
Evo's not Evo's anymore / TV's Jethro Bovingdon. Really rates that mid-engine Corvette. And, he is a Tillerman of the highest order. Yeah. Saw him yesterday.
We did,
but he was doing telly, so he couldn't really stop and chat because he'd got to go and do some actual
business stuff.
He's doing Bosnals. But
we were busy drinking with the Franchitti brothers. Name drop.
Well, so from the top, let's fill people in, like Craig David, because we drove down here on Thursday.
Yeah.
You in a Boxster GTS.
Yeah, 4 litre.
Me in a Carrera T, a 911 Carrera T, manual.
Yes.
You had your mate Matt in the car with you, which made péage booths effortless because he sat on the left of the car.
He was my ticket man.
I did a series of undignified leaping out and running round, and those lanes, they have high concrete curbs, which already makes me jittery for curbing reasons and door reasons, and they're quite narrow.
Yeah, they are.
And the first one, I was in a big panic that you've got to do it all fast. Jumped out, ran round. Also, I parked by the ticket machine. I later learned park a bit back because you don't need to be by the ticket machine. Give yourself room to run around the front of the car to the machine.
This is important tactics, folks, with right-hand drive vehicles in foreign places.
But what happened was when I went to get back in the car, the frameless glass on the door window, I clipped my own lip with it. It was quite painful. Jumped in the car in a big, painful panic and accidentally slotted into reverse and almost backed into you in the box.
Oh gosh, we both shouted the word reverse out loud.
That's right. I didn't back into you, but I went, oh shit, that's reverse, and then put it into reverse again.
And we went, no, not again.
And then after that, I was like, right, there's two things here. First of all, more careful. Don't be so panicky. Just take it easy into first, but also put the door window down before you get out, and then you're not going to twat yourself in the mouth because there's not a lot of room to open a long-doored car in those channels.
You did publicly slap yourself in the mouth with a sports car.
Honestly,
It was with the pillar, the frameless.
So we drove down in a couple of Porsches. It was absolutely exquisite, lovely, and
it was a lot of fun. We had some good road snacks, solid road snacks.
And then what did we do? Did we meet the Franchitti brothers? I can't remember.
Yeah, we did. So Dario, he's done a bit of IndyCar here and there and stuff.
I heard he was quite good.
Yeah, and his brother Marino, also a helmsman of the highest order. We can call them friends of the podcast.
I think so. Yeah. Well, they're avid listeners, which is always weird to me because you think, Dario, you won IndyCar many times. Yeah. Haven't you got better things to do? Go and just, I don't know, drive a GMA T50 for a bit. But that's the thing, he listens to it when he's doing like development work on the GMA cars. I don't think we're betraying a confidence when we say that, but...
He's periodically sent me WhatsApp pictures of the car. He's had to stop at the side of the road because he's distracted and laughing because of listening to us. And he might have said, you pair of complete flukes.
He called us flutes and possibly strokers.
And throbbers.
Because throbbers.
Yeah,
throbbers came out quite a lot because he almost binned a Dino because of some facile shit that we were saying. So we've been hanging out with the Franchitti brothers, which was sort of... sorry, this sounds really twatty when we go. Obviously not. We didn't record that because if we did, legally speaking, we'd have had to...
Well, because we've been meaning to meet up as a foursome for ages, we've never managed it at various events. So that we just wanted to do that as friends. But we did also, and that was in the enclosure... where was that? Was that the... That was the...
Well, this is
the Jota Racing.
Yeah, so on Friday we got invited to that meet the team at Jota because they're a Porsche team, Porsche customer team. Come to Jota.
Come to Jota.
Have you considered spending time in Jota? And they brought the drivers in and various other sort of high-ranking members of the team.
Yeah.
And we milled around looking a bit rubbish, and we saw Jenson Button on the side of the road,
which I was really, really excited about because I've actually never met him. And I've always wanted to meet him because I've heard he's a good egg. And I've got friends who are friends with him and blah, blah, blah. Somerset. Beetle enthusiast, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And he was really great. And we did. Rich and I did actually record a brief interview with him. We had some technical problems.
Well, guys, here's the deal.
Listen.
We wait till all the proper journalists have asked their proper questions. Jenson, how are you feeling about the weekend? How's the car? And we went in, and I started off by going, hello, Jenson, we've met before. You came on Top Gear, and you arrived in a Nissan GTR, and then said we couldn't ask you about it because he was driving for Honda. And then we started chatting about other cars he had around that time. And his PR lady was very, very nice. When, are you just going to reminisce, or are you going to get on with it? And then we asked her the question. She went, is that your question? Very good-natured, but she clearly realised it was amateur hour, but what she didn't realise is that quite quickly into the interview, the batteries in our recorder died. My fault. Hadn't put new batteries in. So he was talking about his Mark III Cav.
The batteries cut at the crucial moment when Jenson was talking to me about his first car, which was, a Mark III Cavalier, and the fact that his dad said, if you win the European Championship. I forget what he was. Was it Formula 2? What was it?
Or was it karting at that point?
Oh, might be. It would have been karting when at that age. He said, if you win the European Championship, I'll buy you a set of alloys for that Cavalier.
17s as well.
And he won. So his dad said, "Go on then, choose your rims." And he got some 17s, and his face lit up when he was selling us. He said, "Back then, 17s were massive. They're like bit touring car esque." And he was telling us all about those, and he said, "And I got some 6x9s in the back speakers," and it was just all very good. And of course, you suddenly forget that you're talking to Jenson Button, not just someone about the days of Max Power. And it was really rather good.
And you said, so when are you going to buy
when are you going to buy one?
When are you going to buy a Mark III Cav? And he went, well, I dreamt of a 2000. I'm like, yeah, of course. 4-wheel drive or 2-wheel drive? I don't know. So you're going to buy one? You went, no, they're shit.
Yeah.
It was fair enough. But none of this was recorded. The first part was recorded. We'll put the first part on the Patreon for what it's worth.
Yeah.
But it does cut out quite suddenly. But there is a bit of chat about NASCAR, driving the NASCAR here last year, which he really lit up about that. He fucking loved that car.
He did.
Lovely guy. He's an SSG.
He is an
He's
SSG.
an official SSG.
Yeah.
And but then the battery died in the recorder. I had my headphones on so I could hear it suddenly died. I didn't want to disrupt the chat by saying sorry, the recorder's died, so I just pretended that I was still recording. And I thought, if I get my phone out, I might just record it on my phone, it might still be usable. I got my phone out, the PR lady misinterpreted what I was doing and went, "Oh, would you like a photo?" And took my phone off me, so I couldn't record, and then she took a picture of us.
But we have got a photo, which is nice.
Which I'm also slightly cropped out of for some reason.
I think she was cross with you.
I think she was cross with me. She thought I was a dick, that's why.
Before we talk any more about racing, we drove over on the Eurotunnel, always fun, on Le Shuttle, and I realised that the Eurotunnel's got like a large cat flap for restricting the height of certain cars going through certain lanes.
That's it.
Well, it looks like a giant cat. I thought it was like a supercar cat flap because it looks ever so low, and you're only driving towards it and you go, I don't know if I can get under that. It looks really low, and it's thick rubber, but aggressive rubber. I don't want to damage my whatever sports car. And it just reminded me of, people that have dog flaps.
Yes.
And they're actually really most of the door.
Well, yeah, and it's like, but you always go, well, you must be constantly getting burgled because an adult man, even like Jeff Capes, could get through there.
Could just stage dive through it.
Why just take your back door off and leave it at that? I don't understand. A dog flap is a silly thing. Also, I'm not sure cats generally figure out cat flaps. Although we used to have a cat when I was a kid, we had a family cat that could never figure out cat flaps. It just didn't like using a cat flap.
If it has a strange odour on it and it's not cleaned regularly with fairly neutral stuff, cats don't like pressing it with their face. That's probably. And some cats don't do the paw push.
Yeah. No, our old family cat Heathcliff was just he was
thick?
No, I don't think he was a thick cat, but when it came to cat flaps, he was a bit of a thickie.
Oh, okay.
But I can't imagine. I can't figure out with dogs. Well, I suppose you see, our dog won't push open doors. If the door is open a little bit, and again, she's not a thick dog, but she just cannot get her head around the idea of shoulder barging her way through. I think most dogs are quite good at that. But anyway, so. Where were we? Oh yes, so we had a chat with Jenson. We'll put what we have of the chat on the Patreon at some point this week. But he was an SSG.
He was. His agent person lady said that we need to wrap this up now, and then he carried on talking about Cavaliers.
Yes.
So I think he warmed to us. I'm just gonna put that out there.
And then we were still sort of hanging around the Jota hospitality like a bad smell because someone else we know wandered in.
Yeah.
And then who should arrive but the brothers Franchitti.
Yeah.
I think I was going to say the world's greatest living pair of Scotsmen, apart from the Proclaimers.
I'm going to say that's accurate, and we ended up having a sort of get-together beer. It was lovely.
And that's where we met Zach Brown out of off of McLaren, who seemed also like an SSG, but also I've never met him before, and he obviously is old mates with Frankittis and there are a couple of other people there. He knows old motorsport people. And we just sort of stood and listened. And the thing that struck me about Zach Brown is that he seems like a really sound guy, but he clearly on the TV he keeps it pro. In real life, He's absolutely an upper echelon swearer.
There were some Fs being dished out.
He drops some Fs and some Cs. And he almost
He did drop
I'm
a
trying
lot.
to think of other swears. I don't know, mainly Fs and Cs.
I'd say there were 3 Cs within 5 minutes,
Easily.
which is a lot of Cs, I would say.
But also, he segued very effortlessly from just sort of describing almost everybody as a C that he was talking about to then doing that thing that you said about how people in Essex use the C bomb in a sort of warm and friendly way. Then he was just calling everyone a C.
A lovely little,
Yeah, good night. Yeah, you see. Yeah.
You
anyway,
see.
But he seemed like a really nice guy. That was an unexpected thing that he just sort of emerged out of the night and hung out for a bit. And then, what else did we do? I can't remember what day it is now.
Well, we've been here for a couple of days, staying in these little sort of. Well, they're not a glamping pod. They're a small porter cabin with good insulation, which have a self-contained pod shower washroom thing. They're good because they're on track.
They
Not
are
actually on the track, but
great location.
yeah.
You can, if you want to, have a sit-down wee and a shower at the same time.
Yes, you can.
I haven't tried this, but it's nice
Yeah.
to know you could.
I almost did.
You have made an interesting lifestyle choice because you're sharing yours with another man,
I decided
your
to.
friend Matt.
Yes.
And I would say that they
It's
are
intimate.
one adult size.
It's an intimate gig, but it's okay. I trust him.
Trust him to what?
I do.
Because you told me on the first night that the next morning that he had a poo while he was still in the room, and the room is about, I don't know,
5 foot square.
yeah.
It's very, very small.
Really cleverly laid out because it's like there's a gap under the bed, so you put your bag under the bed, things like that, and your
Yeah.
shoes and things. So you can declutter to make it a usable space, but it still doesn't necessarily warrant another human being defecating behind a slender sliding door within earshot.
We forgot to say about Jota, by the way, getting back to a bit of motorsport rather than poo. That they one of their cars got ruined in free practice,
Oh yes,
and they rebuilt the entire car in 12 hours. And were allowed to shake it down at the airfield next door.
Yeah.
To just make sure I don't know.
have you seen the pictures of that?
No, I haven't.
It's this rebuilt racing car, but it's sort of
Just dicking
zooming
around.
past all these private jets.
Is it like?
Did you notice, by the way, that when the race finished, like there's suddenly a queue of private jets at the
Yeah.
airfield, all the high rollers, they're gone.
They're out of there.
Yeah.
I did notice that. I heard lots of jets spooling up.
Yeah, and there was a little bit of an avgassy smell in the air because they were like, go, zip,
I
gone.
bet there was some, in your words, not mine, some wealth camtails hanging about, which we have seen.
We've enjoyed a lot of wealth.
We've seen a
but
lot.
also some sort of Euro wealth hair where they've gone, it's not the 80s anymore. Let's lose the cam.
Yeah.
We don't need the little ducktail anymore, but they're sort of thick, luxury grey, slightly wavy, not slicked back, but certainly pushed
Pushed back in the right way. It's
Euro
aero.
Lux hair. It's definitely aero. Yeah,
I don't think anyone does it better than the French. And of course,
Italians.
we are. Do you think the Italians do it better?
yes.
Do you?
This brings me on to something else we were talking about this morning when we were walking into the track. Which Euro nation, as road car drivers, is the best at conserving momentum?
Oh, this was. Yeah,
I think it's the French.
it is the French.
Because, as we know, you look around here and you look in the car parks and stuff like that, there's a lot of nice cars.
Yeah.
But they are predominantly, I would say, on UK or maybe German plates, maybe
Yeah.
Monaco. You do not see a lot of saucy motor cars on French plates.
No.
The French do not give a A high-performance car in France is a 1.2 litre Clio that is permanently at full revs.
Yes, you're so right.
And it is all about conserving momentum.
Yeah.
And I think the French are the world leaders in that. But yes, the Italians also, because the Italians, again, it's like they don't favour a flash car. The home of Ferrari, Lamborghini. I don't think a lot of Italians actually buy Ferraris and Lamborghinis. They are very proud of them, they love them,
Yeah.
they respect them wherever they see them.
And they export them.
They export them. It's almost like, yeah,
Yeah.
we got some nice shit, you can have it.
I think
Give us the money.
The French are the kings of and queens of car utility. Like, this is
Yeah.
fit for my purpose. I'm I'm not going to deviate. They're not luxury chasers like sort of we've become, I feel. So as a result, they're also brake avoiders because they're only going 1.2 litre.
Yeah.
You've got to keep that on song.
Yeah.
And thus,
Has there ever been a French car that's been offered from the factory with carbon ceramic brakes? I don't think so.
I know they'd hate
Because
that.
a French person would go, why would you need that?
I'm never going to experience them.
That's too much. It's going to scrub off speed. I need the speed. The home of the land of the 2CV
Yeah.
and the AX 205, all of these cars, maximum body roll,
Yes.
but lots of grip for skinny tyres, never lift. I don't know what never lift is in French, but whatever it is, that should be written. Liberté, égalité, fraternity, never lift.
For sure we push.
For sure we pushed. There's been a bit of for sure we pushed this weekend.
Yeah, and we're not talking in the toilet department. It's definitely, that's been really good. But
Christ, I haven't told you about what happened to me last night.
oh gosh, don't. Not a toilet-related matter.
Yeah, but it's not what you think, or maybe it is. I don't know. We went to the village, which is the sort of. There's loads of shops selling sort of golf racing jackets and motorsport art and things like that. There's a big
And beer.
and beer. There's a big beer tent. So it was arranged by our friend Alex Goy and some other people, that all sort of British journos and PRs and stuff that were here. We'd get together about 11 o'clock last night. Gareth Jones, off of House of Gareth Jones on Speed, was there.
He is an authority on Le Mans.
An authority on Le Mans, also a bona fide SSG and OG podcast, the Don of UK car podcasts, and he was recording on Speed, and Alex and I had a little chat with him on mic for that. But
On Speed, on mic.
on mic, on, and the beer tent is sort of just in the middle of kind of public area, and it was really ramo when we got there, but then it rained and everyone buggered off. But we Gareth and I and some of his friends got a table under a tent thing, so we were sheltered. So we sat there and we just carried on. And Anita went to one of the public loo blocks that are scattered around this place. This is about. It's sort of 1, maybe even sort of like 1:30 in the morning. Something like that. So it's quietened down quite a lot because the weather was tops. There was nobody in the men's loo. It's quite big.
Good.
So I'm at the urinal, taking care of things, and suddenly a cubicle opens. A man comes out. He comes towards me. He stands right next to me, but not at an angle where he's going to use the urinal next to me, which would have been weird anyway because there were loads of them and they were all free. He looked down at my kit.
What?
And he said something in French and then he walked off.
What, actually glanced at the chap?
No, a fool had a good look.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know what he said.
But you were still mid-flow?
Yes.
Shit.
And I was left in this, I was like, what did he just say? I can't even make out what it was. I was combing my brain for GCSE French going, was it a compliment or an insult? Should I shout after him? But it's cold out. Because it was bloody cold at that point.
Yeah, it's cold.
Cold and wet. And but I still don't know. But I basically had a chap inspection, an unsolicited...
Did you use the term "it's to be expected" for the climate?
I can't remember any French. I suddenly went blank. I was just suddenly shouting, I live in La Rochelle and I have one brother.
Well, with regards to toilets, I haven't got any other toilet stories. But you were talking about Alana Sher, the
Yes.
highly decorated motoring journalist, American motoring journalist lady.
she's got the
Got a lot of lanyards.
part. Yeah, but yes, she has.
A lot of lanyards.
Mind you, look, I'm up to 4 wristbands now, and they all covered over each other. And I went to try and get back in here, and the lady on the door went no, and I started flicking through them. She went no, not yes.
Brilliant. So she was admiring some of the pit stops that we've been watching from this lovely spot that we got. And, of course, windscreen wipers are being used a lot in
Don't
Le
be
Mans.
fooled by the spot that you've got. You're still Johnny from the block.
Yeah, I am totally. I'm keeping it
She
real.
was driving today, wasn't she? Che Lopez.
Oh, there was a Lopez. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But there was another couple of drivers that I'm going to name in a minute. One of them I still can't get over. But when they clean the windscreen during the pit stop, they have tear-offs, and there's obviously a decision that they make when do you tear off and when do you not, because I think they have about 8 to 10 tear-offs.
Yes.
And when do you just spray it with probably vinegar-based solution or lemon?
Londis own brand.
Yeah.
Glass cleaner.
No name lemon. But with the guy or the lady that does that cleaning job jumps onto the bonnet.
Yes.
With knees far apart.
Yes.
Almost hugging with the legs around the cabin. That sort of like beautiful aeronautical cabin shape. And then does the vigorous wash. And she looked at me and she went, basically, that's like a slutty car wash. You think the person jumps straight on the bonnet and spread eagles.
Yeah.
Imagine if you'd split your Nomex overalls and a little bit, in her words, not mine, a little bit of fleshy chewing gum came out.
I thought it was sort of looked like a safari park monkey.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, God, he's going for the wiper blades.
Yeah, it's a Randy Gibbon, and he's going to smear his lipstick across the screen. And it was a bit like that.
Now, on the topic of windscreen wipers, because on Friday we got a little bit too interested in windscreen wipers, and because we got years ago, an engineer told me that engineering road car windscreen wipers is harder than it looks because you need the sort of tension spring to be strong enough to press the wiper down on the screen at high speed where you're getting lift, but it cannot be too strong that at low speed it's providing too much resistance to the motor that it's going to struggle and it's juddering across the screen. And then we were wondering, do these endurance racing cars, for example the Porsche, is that just like a 911 wiper motor repurposed into the endurance racer for the single wiper?
Yeah.
I have an answer.
Oh,
It's a bespoke part.
is it?
Yeah.
How did you find that out?
Well, because we were talking about it with Nick, the Porsche PR, and bless him, because he's good at his job, he went away and found out, and he told me, he said, no, he's asked someone from the team.
It's a
bespoke
standalone
part
item.
because it has to be very small and light,
But strong.
to package. So it's like it requires a bespoke part.
Because we wondered if it was a 944 rear wiper or
Yeah, well, that's it. from a 70s 928. We just got Bosch to make us a couple of new ones. The other thing is, did you hear, and not just in Porsche, but I heard this once, and then TV's Richard Hammond was here this weekend.
Well, yeah.
And I saw Hammond, a lovely catch up with Hammond and his daughter Izzy, and we had a beer together this afternoon. But he said, I heard this morning one of the drivers being told when it was raining not to use the wiper.
Not.
Yeah, and I was like, actually, that's weird. I heard that last night. I heard on some of the the coverage they did little things that don't use the wiper. It's pissing it down. He went, it's counterintuitive. Because it's pissing it down. Why would you not use the wiper? And I was like, is it because the tear off is going to get damaged, or because there's
scored,
or there's loads of flies on the screen? You're just going to smear.
Yeah.
You need to. Next time you come in the pits, the monkey will jump on the bonnet and do the scrubby. No,
the slutty car wash.
well, Rebecca, one of the motorsport PRs who's been doing stuff here this weekend, was nearby, and so I said, Rebecca, why are they not using the wiper? We're curious, and she went, I'll find out. And it's because I guess again because they're sort of lightweight motors, probably been using them more than they expected.
Yeah.
They're worried they're going to burn out.
And if they burn out a motor, windscreen wiper motor, in the race we've had, it has been like rain, then no rain, then 10 minutes later, then rain, then 20 minutes later, no rain. Hence all of the tyre change madness that's been going on.
So
that would
basically, in lighter rain, they're just saying to the drivers, look, and I'm assuming, I don't know this, I didn't bother to ask about this one, but even with the tear-offs, I think they've probably sort of got some kind of Rain-X on them or something. And
must have some sort of repellent.
natural aero as well, and they're going frigging quickly down the Mulsanne.
Yeah, down the Mulsanne.
So if it's light rain, don't burn out the motor, because you might need, if it's torrential, then you'll need it.
You need to let it bead.
Play the long game on the wiper usage, which is an interesting facet of endurance racing that doesn't get reported.
It's one thing, of course, because it gets dark on the Le Mans 24 hours, COS 24 hours. One thing I noticed last night with the Aston Martin GT3 car, it looks like it's got a rabbit lamping bar on the front of it. You know when they get, you know when farmers go into fields and have the big lamp to scare rabbits and then shoot at them. It looked like the Aston would go for a jolly British rural rabbit lamp.
Yes, maybe not some badgers. No.
No.
Actually, we do badgers.
The odd fox. Yeah, it really looked like they were lamping. And I noticed also, but you weren't here. I came in here on my own and had 2 very large portions of chips.
I know, I can't believe it.
And then got to
Just
sleep.
casually this morning, went, oh yeah, because when I had to do my almost asphyxiating on nuts thing last night, 'cause I was so hungry, 'cause it felt like I had lunch 2 days before, that you found paprika chips.
Paprika seasoned, sort of rough cut chips. They were really nice, indeed. And as I was watching this, I realised one of the, because I like the hypercars are obviously the highest level of racing cars here, which this Porsche 963 is, which incidentally has, in the past, a lot of those cars have had quite oblongy vertical headlights.
Yes.
Quite bulbous.
Yes.
And this one has a very horizontal, slitty, robot-eyed headlight.
Very
setup.
horizontal.
And I wasn't sure at first. I put it on Instagram. I'm like, I wasn't sure about the look of this car. But now I realise there's like little bar lights within the pod, and it's to emulate the Taycan, I think.
Yes,
and
I
it
guess
looks
so.
it looks really good.
This is we're in. I think the hypercar grid is a pretty grid. As race cars go, they are pretty cars. The Ferrari's great looking. The Porsche is a nice looking car. The Peugeot, we talked about as well, with those lights.
Cadillac sounds amazing. Obviously.
Cadillac sounds amazing. It looks all right as well. Yeah, no, it's all good. So it's eclectic, and obviously it sounds so silly to say it, but these cars, the engines and the whole thing, they do so much hard work. It's
so much hard work.
It's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
The endurance of the cars, the endurance of the drivers as well. You know, and I was absolutely. I know they sort of nap, but how could you nap when you've got like you're sort of so on it? And that's the thing. They're sprint racing. Essentially, it feels like it. And then you go, oh, you're out of the car, go and have a nap. How are you fucking having a nap?
I don't know.
I just don't understand it. And I was sort of trudging home through the rain at shit o'clock this morning, and they're still absolutely, well, they weren't actually, because the safety car came out at 4:45, but the before that, just
Pelting.
absolutely pelting it.
Yeah.
You know, how are you doing this?
I don't know. I know it's really, but there's a driver in GT3 in a Mustang, and his name is E-Bastard.
Yes, I saw this. I know, and I was like, is he a bastard? It's like he hasn't even got the apostrophe in it. What's going on?
I don't know.
E-Bastard.
You bastard. I actually don't know what E stands for.
No, I didn't know this.
I need to find it. Edgar Bastard.
Extra.
Yeah, I do. Well, you're an extra bastard.
Enormous. His first name's Enormous. Hi, I'm Enormous Bastard.
And then you've got Panis Racing, which from a distance I looked at the race truck and I just think someone had scrawled Penis Racing on the side of it. And then you've got the other one, which is even better to me.
Oh,
Vista AF.
oh yes. Have we had a photo of that?
No, we need to do it. It's
I'm loving the fact, and also because the Ferrari stuff is all AF Corsa, isn't it? Which I just see it as fuck.
Yeah. Oh, as fuck racing.
As fuck racing.
Yeah. So
As fuck Ferrari.
Vista AF course. It's Vista as fuck racing.
Okay. You can have a Wii in front of their building because they've got a big thing.
If I had the wealth, the camtail, to run a race team with it, a Piss Vista AF,
Incredibly thick, wavy hair.
I'd have yacht owner's hair. It'd be brilliant. So yeah, you got that, and then there were a few Lamborghinis in the GT3, which is pretty common. They all look like they were modified by an influencer to me.
So when you said pretty common, you didn't make that worry that someone's grandma might say, oh, that's a bit common.
No, there were a lot of them, and there have been historically. But there was one run by a race team called Iron Lynx.
Yes.
And I thought to myself, that just sounds like the new Anchorman fragrance.
Lynx Iron.
Do you know what I mean?
It's got a very metallic undertone.
It's not a Sex Panther, it's Iron Lynx. And
Are they affiliated to the Iron Dames? They're the sort of sister team, aren't they?
that's right.
Yeah.
The Iron Dames, who are doing very well. So I enjoyed the definitely not Sex Panther Iron Lynx. Just
Why don't Lynx sponsor more motorsport? Is it because Lynx is called something else? It's called Axe, isn't it, in Europe?
in Europe it's called Axe.
Yeah.
I remember doing
Iron Axe.
Iron Axe actually works.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that from German exchanges at school.
Yeah.
We'd go and get a can of Axe.
The logo's the same, but the name is different. Confusing. Why have they not changed it? Because everything else is sort of, it feels like, Snickers and things like that, and
Well,
Starburst.
Nova's changed to Corsa,
Yeah,
obviously, many
things-
moons
it's
ago.
just easier to sort of make it homogenous. And why is
Yeah.
Lynx not? I mean, of course, it goes the other way as well because. No, wait, it didn't go the other way, did it? I was sort of about to, I was going, there's a car that went the other way, and I was thinking, actually, there wasn't, because it was Vectra and Omega.
Of course, we took that.
We were always a generation behind on those, and then
Yeah.
we just took them. But I'm sure there was a car that went the other way, and now I can't think what it would be. So I'm probably talking shit. Quite tired.
Well, we were lucky enough to get a grid walk. I've still got the bracelet on. I might keep it like a gap year bracelet.
the bloody Mardi Gras.
The Mardi Gras. We've got to talk about this.
5 separate Mardi Gras.
5 separate Mardi Gras on the grid. The grid was absolutely rammed with people. So you were sort of tripping over cars almost because you couldn't see the race cars. They were
That
below
terrible
the
fear of just treading on some aero by mistake.
Yeah, but Rich and I were really enjoying the variation of Mardi Gras entertainment and music, which we did try and record some of. It was quite chaotic, but fun. But it made me think. Of course, they start blowing whistles and they get everybody off the grid because, race is in about 45 minutes' time or whatever. And I thought to myself, wouldn't it be fun if they made... Fun? If they made all 5 of the Mardi Gras people go into the pit lane and go, you guys can hang around here for the next 24 hours. You can go wherever you want to go.
Can I take this class or?
Yes, but if you can take that one,
Yeah,
thank
okay.
you. You can go wherever you want in the pit lane, all right? But like a cow in India,
Yeah.
you must not ever hit the Mardi Gras. So you do a 24-hour race, avoiding all Mardi Gras action in the
Sacred
pits.
Mardi Gras, yeah.
If you knock or injure any Mardi Gras related person,
Can I?
you must get disqualified.
Yeah.
It's a DNF or a disqualification. Because what happened? Oh well, the geezer with the tuba got clipped on the ankle by a jota.
So, hang on. This was worth repeating as well, that in the course of the last 2 or 3 days, you have, on 2 occasions, found your head basically by a tuba.
I got tailgated by a tuba.
When we went to the drivers' parade in town on Friday, and we were doing that crossing, we were crossing the road, and they'd stopped the cars coming round.
Yeah.
I mean, there were all drivers in the back of it. A lot of American cabrios.
But not very. None with any racing pedigree or.
Confusing. I think it's the thing where I'm convinced, I keep banging on about this, that actually France has a secret crush on Americana, particularly 50s and 60s stuff. But, so there was like sort of big old caddy Eldorado from the 70s and things, and that Mercury Cougar that we really liked. It seemed to come around twice. But
I was doing pussy laps, as we used to say in the 90s.
there was a bloody 90s Chrysler LeBaron, a red cabrio one. It was a bloody awful car.
I had such a tapered nose. It was
Tits, we haven't talked about that as well. When your excellent question to Dario Franchitti, when you went, what's the worst bit of merch you ever had your name on when you're in IndyCar?
Yes.
But then you said, what's the thing you wanted your name on? And of course, because Dario is not, I don't think gets enough credit for the fact that he obviously knows a lot about motorsport and knows everybody here.
Yeah.
But he is a road car nerd as well.
He is.
He knows a shed load about road cars. And when we went, what car would you like your name on? And he went, Uno Turbo.
Yes, he did.
His first car.
Yeah.
And then started waxing lyrical about the instruments and stuff. And we've kind of got half-assed hatched this plan of resto mod. Uno Turbo by Franchitti.
By Franchitti. I think that's
100
amazing.
grand easy.
He said he couldn't keep it for very long because he couldn't afford the insurance.
Which is
that right?
bettered only by Marino's story about being given a Boxster when he got his first sort of big pro racer drive. But then he arrived with a full tank of fuel. He couldn't afford to refuel it, so he drove it around like a twat until the tank was dry, and then just sort of like Joey from Friends, just leant on it for the rest of the
And
time.
talked about, gestured towards it.
Yeah. Oh, it's my Porsche. Can we go for a drive in it?
No, it's dry. I'm sorry.
Where were we? Oh yes, no. So we were crossing the road at the drivers' parade, and then they do that thing with the bits of string and marshals and whistles and whatever. And we were crossing. We were sort of tagging along with the group crossing over, and then the marching band was coming towards us, and there was a sort of unholy coming together of pedestrians and marching band, and you ended up with a tuba in your ear.
I really-
And then it happened again on the grid walk.
I mean, I haven't been kind of followed by a tubist for a long time.
I mean, I can Google the stats, but I'm going to say, how often in the average year does the average person find their head in a tuba? I'm going to say it's 0, and it's happened to you twice in 36 hours.
Well, I didn't think that there's that many tubers at motorsport events.
Well, there normally isn't. But there's normally not people on stilts on the grid at motorsport events.
Yeah, he was juggling in an unusual way. So yeah, my theory is keep the Mardi Gras guys, but in the pit lane, and they can go completely freestyle. Okay.
Okay.
So stilt walkers can go really close to the refueling guys and annoy the hell out of them.
What about...
They're immune.
Let me extend this idea. Every team has to have one of their pit stops done by the Mardi Gras people.
Oh my god.
Because it just levels the playing field, and it might be quite amusing, particularly if one of the people trying to change the tyres is on stilts, because that's going to be technically challenging, but maybe not impossible.
There was a Rio de Janeiro spec sort of dancing lady, you know, with all the peacock feathers and the sequin bikini.
Yeah.
What would she? Oh, she'd do the car wash jump.
Oh yes,
She'd do the car wash jump.
But also there are those can ladies with the wooden model of the Eiffel Tower for no explicable reason.
on wheels.
It was incredibly confusing. The grid walk,
It was
grid
great.
walks used to be sort of quite sparsely populated, and it was all just like people kind of stroking their chins and looking at the cars and going, "That's good aero." And now, multiple Mardi Gras, can people, and
Le Mans,
and
it's got it all.
incredibly busy.
The 24 hours got it all. Now, it would be really cliche of me to say, hey, the GT3 Mustangs, they sounded great, they were charging well, they were actually pretty reliable from what I could see. But there's no doubt that a lot of people panicked as they were leaving the pits.
Oh, of course.
Because as soon as you release that restrictor...
Well, and particularly at 3 a.m.
Yes.
Because suddenly it starts to feel like an American car's
It's coffee time, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's coffee time.
It's dark, it's cold. Inexplicably, a Mustang is gunning it.
Yeah.
At this time in the morning, and probably has had some coffee.
So I was...
All the ingredients are there.
I kept watching to see if it was going to hard stage left or hard stage right coming out, and then just as some LMP2 cars were whistling past, and just take one of them out, like being kicked in the back of the knees at the urinal, you know,
or having your chap inspected unexpectedly.
I still can't believe that.
No, I can't either. I'm still processing
Amazing.
it because I can't figure out. Anyway, but I just remembered what you said. You said about when the Cadillac pulled into the pits, you're expecting the door flew open because it's a Cadillac that a hooker would get out.
You know, a load of smoke.
Loads of cigar smoke. And there's another person in there. What's that? Oh, I saw this young lady and I thought I would give her a ride, but also I gave her $200.
And also loads of packets of beef jerky, because they're like, listen, when the safety car comes out, I've got time for a couple of packets of some beef jerky.
What's that stuff? I don't know if you can still get it in America. Four Loko, that boozy.
Oh, you've talked about that before.
Yeah. I think you can still get Four Loko, but they've reduced the strength because it was causing too many, I don't know, incidents.
I left you a little present on outside your bedroom
you
door.
Absolute dick. Because did you not hear what happened? Because I didn't know. Because I said to you sorry, now we're getting into the weeds on this one, but you went to bed before me. You headed back to where we stayed before me.
I did. I was in bed at 2:15.
I didn't get back till 4, so I was trudging back in the rain, and I was like, I know, there has been a drink taken, and I feel like I might need some ibuprofen. You told me you'd got ibuprofen, so I said, could you leave me some ibuprofen on my doorstep? And you went, oh no, I'm already in bed, but I've left something else on your doorstep already.
You went, yeah, thanks, mate.
There's this massive, one of those stupid big cans of some shitty energy drink, but it's on its side, and I kicked it by accident, and it sort of it scuttled off down the walkway. It was quite noisy.
Do you know what it was called?
I don't know. Heart palpitations.
It was called Kong Strong.
Was it?
Yeah, that's.
I didn't even look at it. I've left it outside your door because I was like, I'm not. Well, the thing is, because I kicked it, so I went down the walkway, picked it up again. So then it was outside someone else's door. I was like, I don't know. It looks like a threat if you leave it out someone's door without context. So I was like, I'm not bringing it in my room because I don't want it in here. I'm not going to drink it. It looks vile. So I stood it up and just put it outside my room. And this morning, when I decided to move it outside your room, of course the top had filled with rainwater, and it looked. I didn't read the label because I just thought it looked vile.
I was going to say this the other week. Something I didn't mention was, you know, when you go to it's unfortunately, I don't know why. It's a term used by older people, and I often hear it at wakes.
Yes.
When someone says, "What a lovely spread,"
Oh yeah.
when they're referring
Yes.
to just food arranged on a table.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It's a spread.
It's a spread.
What a lovely spread.
What a lovely spread.
Lovely spread.
And it's a conversation starter for an awkward and perhaps somber time.
Yes, it's sort of it's in the same spectrum as, well, they had a good innings.
Yes, that's right.
What a
In other
lovely
words,
spread.
they will die because everyone does.
Yeah.
But they were old when they died.
Yeah,
So it's okay.
exactly. Yeah, but it's funny actually because you wouldn't sort of if someone tragically died when they were 28, you wouldn't go, they had a bad innings.
Yeah, you wouldn't
Doesn't
say bad.
sound right. Doesn't
no.
I never say bad innings, only good innings.
No.
And a lovely spread. You wouldn't go, what a shit spread. What a disappointingly shit spread that is.
What a terrible, horrible, sweet spread.
Sweet.
Do you know,
Caroline.
One of my other observations from Cadillac, apart from being an accomplished racing team
Yeah.
whose road-going products don't match their racing prowess,
Which may still be some kind of tax loss.
which is a shame because I'd like to support them perhaps at some point. I've had an old Cadillac, but it made me look around the back of Cadillac's racing area. In fact, I saw Dario Franchetti. He came out to see what I was doing.
He was living in there.
He was living in there. I didn't know.
He's got a little flat upstairs.
And I set him a task, and he didn't complete it. So he owes us.
The gilet theft.
Yeah, I whispered into his ear because I thought I'm going to establish some dominance in this conversation.
Which and dominate
which
that.
is hard to do with a
Incredibly
racing
handsome,
driver.
successful man. Yeah.
And I said, I tell you what you're going to do this weekend, son. I didn't say son. I said,
Pal.
I want to see some motorsport gilet theft. Because there's a lot of motorsport gilets here.
Yeah, but he went, I could probably go and get you one. It's like, no, that's not the point. It's got to be theft.
It's got to be stolen.
But we sat next to a chair in the other Porsche hospitality that had a gilet just carelessly left over it. We could have nicked it and we bottled.
Yeah. What Dario did say is, I'll just steal Scott Dixon's gilet, which will be too small for you. And I said, well, that's kind of all right, because Scott Dixon was driving or about to drive.
Well, that's it. That's the best. It's like finding out, like someone's on live television and you can go and burgle their house.
Yes.
And endurance drivers off driving, you can go into their motorhome and nick their gilet.
Yeah. And so
We should have
Darren,
done more of this. I can't believe we only just realised we missed the trick.
well, if there's any other racing drivers or racing teams listening, can we, in the future, if you permit us to, are we going to do some polite podcast-related content involving thefts of motorsport gilets?
So anyway, yeah, we find ourselves now at the end of the Le Mans 24-hour weekend with no gilets, even ones that are so undersized that it looks like a matador's jacket. But I don't know, we're still here tonight. We're not going home till tomorrow. We could make it our point. Look, everyone's packing up. I think this is a good time because everyone's packing up, so there's lots of stuff lying around. You could just be very, very mercenary about it.
Well, I've had 2 motorsport cocktails. If I have another 3, I'm going to say another 3, and I'll be match fit to take everything off my top half and then put on a very small motorsport stolen gilet. So I'm not saying I've got the body to show it off.
No, that's not the point.
But I've got the confidence.
Exactly.
Because I'm 5 motorsport cocktails in.
Yeah, no, I think
and
that's...
I will have it. It will be completely open, and it will be higher than the navel. So it will.
Higher than the navel, yes. But also, because I think I did say to Dario, if you could steal a larger size one, but what I promise you is I will then cut it into a deep V. deep V. We're seeing a bit of lip.
Can you get a motorsport deep V? A Nomex deep V?
Yeah, I feel like it might be defeating the object of the Nomex, but it's worth considering.
Well, because you're just getting rid of a lot of it, so you're just leaving.
Well, yes, it's not fireproof anymore, is it?
No.
We probably need to wrap this up because not least that it feels like everything's being dismantled around us, as you can probably hear.
It's like removal men working around the person who hasn't left their own house yet.
Before we go, I also have to say a big thank you to everybody that we've met who listens to this podcast over the course of this weekend, and particularly to the chaps who, as we stood like smug twats on the roof terrace at the top of this hospitality looking out over the start-finish straight after the race had finished, and lots of people are flooding down the pit lane and down start-finish straight to go to watch the podium ceremony.
Waving flags.
A group of chaps who spotted us up on the roof and shouted "Spout."
They did. They must have had eagle eyes.
I
though.
know.
Really eagle eyes. So we don't know who you are,
But
there are
thank
3
you.
of you. Thank you, and thanks to everybody who tapped us on the shoulder and maybe whispered things like "Cheers, mate. Thanks, mate. Bye."
Yeah, I had a chap last night. I went to the Peugeot Hospitality, and he sidled up to me and went, "Eagle Quest."
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, and we're sorry we didn't bring the Eagle Quest, but as guests of Porsche, they did offer us to drive here in Porsches. If we went, yes, no, we'll take the
I'm sorry.
accommodation, we'll take the pit lane tickets, but we just want to drive here in an old Vauxhall, if that's okay. But there'll be another time.
Well, I mean, on a practical note, we've had to park. We had to park the Porsches. We had to park the Porsches in an area where there's not a lot of room for manoeuvre, and I think getting the Quest in there might have been a stretch.
Oh yeah, it would have been.
Well, no pun intended.
Yeah.
Right then. Well, that's all for us from Le Mans. Slightly husky, slightly tired, but I don't have 3 things to say. I just want to say thank you very much for Porsche for having us along as guests and for feeding and watering us. And thank you to everyone that we've talked to this weekend and said hi to. And we'll be back to normal service, I think, next week.
Yes, I've got one thing to tell you,
Yes.
and that was in the Flexi Plus area of Le Shuttle.
Yeah.
If anyone's ever been into that lovely room where you've got food and a good toilet,
Yeah.
there's a 3-stage shoe polishing device.
What?
It's got 3 different mop heads.
What?
So you can go from coarse to extremely fine for patent leather, presumably. Who has ever
Who's
used...
getting on the Eurotunnel with like leather shoes on? Like, who's going on holiday, surely?
I didn't take a picture of it, but just believe me, there's a 3-stage shoe polisher in Flexi Plus.
Stage 3.
Stage 3, yeah.
Stage 3 to put shoes.
Yeah. Oh, and also, I think next year at Le Mans, I'm going to say Honda need to come in, and you know what they need to drive in GT3.
Yes, I do.
Totally standard.
Because
Totally standard. No,
it already has the performance required.
It already, it can conquer all. And they might have a secret nitrous kit, which will have a 400 shot nitrous.
There we go. All right, well, hopefully join us again same time next year for the Le Mans 2.2.
Believe.
But until then, thank you for listening. See you next week. Goodbye.
Thank you. Cheers, mate. Thanks, mate. Bye.
So you've enjoyed this podcast, but you've had a thought. Is there a way here today that you could show support? Well, you could join our Patreon, what wonders that it brings. Early shows and extra notes on that side of things. You could buy our merchandise, we've mugs and hats but still no ties. One day we will make those pies, but in the meantime guys, hey guys, like and subscribe and maybe leave a nice review. Like and subscribe, we know you know just what to do. Like and subscribe, we don't want to take the piss. Like and subscribe, but we were told to ask for this. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
Stop wasting your time reminiscing for
I was
fuck's
going to
sake.
ask you, have you still got your Honda S600?
No.
Why not?
Sold it and made a fortune.
Did you?
Did you?
I think it sold for like 45 grand or something.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Is that little video of you driving
In the
up
mountain.
in Monaco?
Yeah, revving to 9,000 RPM.
Was that your question?
Yeah, that's the main question.
Yeah.